After 8 days of driving through Germany, Denmark and a large part of Norway, we finally arrived at the North Cape. What's up guys, I'm Vince and this is Vince Ventures. If you are new to this channel, this is the story of how my brother and I decided to drive our late grandfather's 1996 Renault Megane to the North Cape, Europe's most northern point accessible by car. I am sharing my adventures, travel experiences and beautiful trips on this platform to provide recommendations and ideas in case you are planning a similar trip, or maybe you just want to watch some different landscapes and escape from reality. If you already watched the last videos, thank you so much for sticking around and supporting me, and if not, feel free to check them out. In the last video, you saw us driving through a strong storm and we were afraid we wouldn't make it to our final destination, but luckily we were allowed to drive with the last convoy of the evening to our accommodation in Skarsvåg. Skarsvåg is a small town just 14 kilometers away from the North Cape, and when we drove down the hill into the village in the evening, we were already able to see the North Cape rock protruding into the horizon. After the exhausting drive the day before and the week of driving, we were not only happy about the night of sleep, but especially about the fact that we booked 2 nights at this place. Although it was in the middle of August, it was only 5 degrees outside, and it was a good decision that we did not decide to camp outside, but to pay for a little cottage with heating and electricity. We finally were able to charge up all of our devices again and our own batteries. In the morning we had breakfast and started driving the last few kilometers to the North Cape. It was around 11 AM when we arrived there. We parked our car and let our drone fly immediately. There's a webcam where you can see the parking lot and the globe of the North Cape in the background, and our parents even saw us arriving there with the red little car of our late grandfather. It felt surreal that we made it this far with his car, that he didn't drive a lot in the last years of his life, often afraid it could break down. But on this trip until here we didn't have any problems and it didn't even skip a beat. If you haven't seen the first videos, we drove all the way from Germany to Norway in one day, visited the beautiful Kirkeporten museum near Oslo, camped for the first time in 10 years and drank this near beautiful river. We drove up and down stunning mountain passes like Dalsnibbe and Trollstigen, saw the Geiranger Fjord, drove the extraordinary Atlantic Road, went to Hell, reached the gate to North Norway, and after 6 days made it into the Arctic Circle. Then we went on, visited the most beautiful island of Senja, and 2 days later we were finally here at the North Cape, Europe's most northern point, accessible by car. The North Cape isn't really Europe's most northern point. There is a peninsula called Knivskilodden, which is 9 km by foot from the North Cape, which is even more north than the North Cape. And then there are also the islands of Svalbard, which are in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, really up north. And if you want to be really exact, the North Cape is on an island, so it's not the most northern point of mainland Europe at all, because that would be the Cape Kinnarodden, which lies 70 km more to the east of the North Cape. But here we were at the most northern point in Europe accessible by car, and what a journey it has been. At the North Cape, there's no fee for parking, but you can buy a ticket to visit the North Cape Hall, which is a museum with a gift shop, a chapel, a restaurant, weirdly a time museum, a panorama viewpoint and a post office, and of course the characteristic globe statue at the 307 meter high cliff of the North Cape. The entry is 200 crowns, so 18 euros for students and 330 crowns for adults. Because there's not much else to do, we paid to visit everything, and it was actually quite interesting. There is an exhibition where you can learn about the planetary movements and the midnight sun, and we learned that the time museum is there because in 1907 the King of Siam came by boat from Copenhagen to the North Cape and was one of the first tourists there. In fact, before the Nordkapp tunnel was built in 1999, you had to go by ferry to the North Cape Islands itself. It still was weird, or at least unexpected, to see a time museum at this place. On the ground you can see the signature of the King of Siam carved into a big rock. After we visited the North Cape Hall, we went outside to take some photos and drone shots of the globe and the cliffs with the open sea behind them, and just enjoyed the view for a while. It was still cold, but we were glad that the storm from the day before subsided. Still, I was not used to wearing a scarf and a hat in August. I wrote some postcards, and they had really nice North Cape stamps for sale. At around 5:30, we drove back to our accommodation. It was right next to the Kirkeporten, a gate-like rock formation just a short walk away. From there you can see the North Cape, and if you stand at the right place or fly a drone like we did, you can see the North Cape rock through Kirkeporten. It was a really nice end to the stay, and we stayed there until 8 o'clock. because the sun doesn't really go down in summer up north, we lost track of time and had a late dinner again, right before we fell asleep. We decided to sleep a little longer to get the most out of this beautiful accommodation, and also because we only had a 5-hour-long drive planned for the next day, starting our way back to Germany through Norway, Finland, Sweden and Denmark. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, I put the links to the places we visited down in the description box below. So please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and see us next time as we start to make our way back home and learn something about the Sami, the oldest indigenous tribe in Europe.